Hello fellow woodworkers and welcome to this week's edition of the Garage Workshop. And in this week's video we're going to be taking my ruler and measuring assortment wall and turning it into a cabinet for my measuring tools, sort of. Roll the intro. So fellow woodworkers, this appendage on my wall that currently houses all of my squares and measures was a really interim basic thing that I put in place when I first put the garage workshop together, and I'd done all of the boarding. I just needed somewhere to put all of these measures. So I literally just 3D printed some little clasps, stuck them on a piece of wood and stuck them on the wall and sort of forgot about it. But recently I found it harder and harder to use this because I have to keep leaning over my workbench. It's not brilliantly laid out, and I also don't like the fact that the way things are across, it puts a little bit of stress on the measures. I would rather the measures were sort of hanging down, but obviously that means turning it around the other way. So I've got a couple of upcoming projects, storage builds around the garage workshop, and this is going to be the first stage. So what I'm going to do is transfer all of these tools off of here and custom make a frame using a product like shadow foam, not shadow foam, to put everything in. And obviously I've added to this collection as well, so I'd like to try and see if I can find space for that. So the first thing I'm going to do is take all of this off, lay it all out on my workbench and see how much space I need. So here are all of the measures that I've got that you will have seen up there, and I also want to see if I can include space for my trusty Wallcraft set square or T-square. I don't know what the official name is for this. If you know, let me know in the comments. I also want to include what I'm going to call a T-square. This is the one that I got from Temu earlier in the year. This is a really nice piece of kit. I've got this Parkside sort of angled ruler thing. To be honest with you, I've only used it about 3 times. I've used it to draw sort of longer lines when I put an angle in on wood. And the latest edition, which is this Parkside universal ruler, which as you can see I've not even opened yet. So there are a few extra things that I want to put in it. Now, in terms of what I'm going to make, I'm going to use the alternative to shadow foam that I've used in a couple of previous videos. I'll put a little playlist of the videos that I've used this shadow foam equivalent product for. I don't know what foam insert I think is the best way to call it. So I'm not going to use foam insert that's that thick. I've actually ordered some more, which is considerably thinner for this project. So I'm hoping to keep this a sort of narrower, much taller unit than the one that I've currently got on the wall. And as I said, I want to have all of these things laid down. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay as much of this out as I can on my workbench and see what I've got to play with. Okay, so I've got a fairly rough layout, but as you can see, it is actually quite wide. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to subject you to 3 million rejiggles of this. I'm just going to have a look and see if I can slightly rearrange them, because obviously I've got to leave big enough gaps in between that I can actually sort of get my hands in and I can comfortably cut everything. But I think at the moment it's just a little bit too wide for me. It may be that it needs to be a bit longer and a bit sort of thinner, but at the moment I've sort of got everything there, but I'm not happy. So I'm going to have a fiddle off camera and see if I can sort it out. So of course stage 1 was getting accurate measurements, and I'm using some of this wood. It's like veneer covered MDF, which I actually reclaimed from a skip when they built a very well-known American coffee shop just up the road from me. I did ask the guys, I didn't just nick it out the skip. And I've had it stored for ages. It's super long, these pieces, and I just thought this might be a really nice material to use for the side, because it would look good, and although it's sort of quite floppy and not very straight, it is fairly light compared to normal MDF, and I could obviously you know, support it with a sort of structure. So the next thing I did was just offered it up, and I've got the measurement of foam. At this point I probably should have opened all the foam, and you'll know what I mean when you get to the end of this video, but I just put a marker on so I could tell roughly where I needed to cut or route out the groove that the board is going to sit in. I'm going to use 6mm MDF for the board because it's rigid enough to give me what I want, but it's not too big and it's not too you know, cumbersome. And then run it through the table saw. As you can see here, I forgot to hook up my dust extraction, and got the slices, the woods down to the size that I needed. Now this wood is curved on one of the edges, like beveled by default, so it's actually given the overall cabinet a really nice feel. Obviously it's got a straight flat edge because I've just cut one side of them, but both ends are beveled. So I decided to do 4 pieces. I probably could have got the 2 ends out of this one piece, but I cut it into 4 anyway. It wasn't until I watched this I noticed how uneven the ground is for my table saw, and I'm going to do something about that in a future video. So this is now the next day. Apologies for seeing me in a vest. There's some things you just can't get around, and that's one of them. It was baking hot this day, as I'll talk about at the end. And I put in my router bit, and I just ran these all through the router. Now the router bit I've got cuts a hole that's 6.3 wide. So one pass through this, and it's absolutely perfect in terms of the size hole to fit a piece of 6mm plywood in. I've used this before, this router bit. Here I remembered that I've got a feather board, which made life a lot easier, hence that, oh look, I've just remembered. So when I put all those through, I then took them into the miter saw just to put an edge on them to miter them, so they can all go together. This piece that you just saw me doing there, you can see it's all different size. That it was just an off-cut piece that I used. I just wanted to make sure the angle was right, which it was. Oh, watching this back, there's a little burn mark there. I didn't notice that on the MDF. So then it was just a case of not putting a miter through all of these, not doing this in a hurry. I really took my time. As you can see, I set up a block there to make sure all the pieces were in exactly the same place and the cuts were in the correct place. So I did take my time doing this. Next stage was just a simple case of a little bit of a glue up. I did my best to get this as straight as possible, and just before I stuck it down, I put that little wedge I had lying around of 6mm plywood in there to sort of keep it together, and then I used one of those right-angled clamps that I 3D printed quite a while ago to sort of make it 100% right-angled, which it was, and obviously I wiped away all the spill out of the glue because I used too much glue. When that was done and it was drying, I'd done the 2 sides, I then put my plywood through, my MDF, sorry, through the table saw. And you will have hopefully just seen there that this table saw, the dust extraction on it is that little Parkside saw that I reviewed in last week's video. I'll talk about this at the end, but super impressive. Obviously you have to have it on the sort of high speed power mode for it to be effective, but with that it more than coped with the table saw. There wasn't any sort of dust coming back out of me from the slot, and I could see it was going in really well because the bottom of the Parkside vacuum is sort of translucent, transparent. Anyway, with those all done, and that was the frame that I'd glued that you'd seen earlier, it was just a case of offering up the plywood, sliding it in, and made sure that it fitted properly. It did take a little bit of finagling this, because at the bottom the plywood had very slightly bowed, so I did have a little bit of a shenanigans with it, but I got there in the end. And as you can see, 3 pieces were needed for this. But then when I clamped it, it fit it together really well. When I offered this up first time, the top bit that I'd cut didn't fit. It was about 15 mil out. But obviously when I clamped it together, it had pulled everything together and it fits nicely there. But when I put it in, I did decide that I wanted to just put a few brad nails in. So I just put in some 35 mil brad nails. Not everywhere, I have to say. Just more on one side than the other, and it's just more of an extra measure really. And I've got one of those little sticks, those little wax stick things that you can fill holes in this sort of veneer with. So I'm going to use that. Obviously I can't find it at the moment, but I know it's in the garage somewhere, so I will find it. But when I put those in, I then just made a couple of little braces for the back. These are to sit behind the joins in the plywood. Just really simple. As you're not going to see them, I just use some pieces of plywood. I use this piece of plywood because it's nice and flat and not bowed, and most of my offcuts of plywood are bowed. If you have the same problem, let me know in the comments. It might just be me, but I find that if I stack them up eventually, they go on a sort of slight angle and get slightly bowed, which is a bit of a pain in the backside, to be honest. I ran that piece through to make 2 equal braces. Then I put them through the pocket hole jig, just to give me a really simple, convenient way to attach them. Of course, if I ever want to take them off or change them anyway, I can do that. But again, I am going to use brad nails, which you'll see in a minute, just to make sure that this is all sort of linked up and together. So I just attached them with pocket hole screws, and it kept it nice and straight and rigid, which is what I was looking for. The plywood there is slightly bowing. You might just be able to see that sort of falling away from the braces. But when I turned it over, which you'll see in a second, it was all sitting really nicely. Then it was just a case of getting out my brad nailer and just nailing it all. These are really small. I think these are 25 mil. The brad nails that I'm putting in, they're really tiny, and this is going to be covered with the foam insert anyway, so I wasn't really worried about how many I looked. And then we came to the disaster piece of the video. I have to say it was very hot. So, fellow woodworkers, I've come to the end of the build part of this project. The next thing for me to do was to put in the foam inserts and then draw around all of the tools and put them in. Now, I'd ordered this foam insert on AliExpress a while ago now, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, and the person that I ordered it from didn't have enough of these sheets. So these sheets that I ordered were 50 by 30 by 3. So measuring them, 50, well, 32, close enough, by 3. Now, as I said, they didn't have enough, so I went on to another supplier and I ordered exactly the same. And I've just gone and checked on my account. I ordered exactly the same thing, but what they've sent me is 50 by 30 by 5. So I now don't have enough foam insert to finish this project. This is actually Saturday. This video will be going out in 2 days, hopefully. And I just have not got time to do anything else. I've just been on and I've gone to the supplier that I got the first lot from, and I've ordered some more, but it's saying it's not going to be delivered until the middle of August. So I'm a bit stuck. on going any further forward. So I'm not going to say this is a fail, because the actual build of this unit, with the exception of this one corner over here, which the wood snapped when I was putting it together, the actual build has gone really well. I'm pleased with what I've got, and as you can see, hopefully you can see, the foam insert that I've got fits perfectly up against the edge. So all of the measuring, all of the marking, the putting it together has all worked really, really well. It's been incredibly hot in the UK the last few days. It is so hot in the garage. I'm getting a little bit hot and bothered, to be honest with you, but I can't take this any further. And rather than not put a video out this week, I'm going to put this out showing you how far I've got, and then when the foam inserts arrive, I can just slot them in. So it's not a failure, but it's not a completely finished video either. Hopefully you've lasted this long. If you have, thank you so much. I just want to give a couple of little shout outs. The first one is to this Parkside fan. I picked this up today. I want to say it was 1999. It has been a godsend. As I said, it's so hot. It's actually 31 degrees outside at the moment, and the temperature inside the garage is... It's actually 37 degrees in the garage. It's significantly bigger, hotter in here, because there's sort of no air or anything really. And this fan has kept me going all day. It just works on a 20-volt battery, and that's been running now for 6 hours on the lowest setting. And it's kept me nice and cool, or kept me coolish. And you may have seen, hopefully from the footage, when I use my table saw, the SawStop table saw, I just had it attached to that little Parkside Vac that I did the review on last week, and the Parkside Vac has actually kept up perfectly with the saw, which is a massive win. And I've also had my other little vac, my Hychika Vac, is plugged into my miter saw, and it's kept up with that as well. So I'm really, really pleased for both of those little things. When I dropped that video last week, I know quite a few people unsubscribed from the channel when I put that video up. And I know some people have said about, you know, videos and me doing too many reviews, but actually both of those products I've demonstrated in this video are really, really worth it. That Parkside kept up so well with the SawStop table saw. I'm really impressed with that, really, really impressed. But just a little nod, if you haven't seen the video, I'll put a link in the description to this video. So if you have got to this part of the video, thank you so much. If this is your first time at the Garage Workshop, please don't be put off by this. I do have videos where I actually do things properly and they turn out right, so please go and see that. Please can I ask you to subscribe, like and comment, and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm putting out new content. If you're a regular viewer, please let me know in the comments whether you think it was worth the torture of a 36, 37 degree workshop for this. It's just one of the minefields when you order from sites like Temu and AliExpress. You just sometimes get sent the same things. And to be honest, I should have opened it, shouldn't I, at the time? Because now I've got to try and send it back. But please don't forget to like and comment. And I'll hopefully catch you on a much cooler edition of the Garage Workshop next week. Take care, fellow woodworkers.